Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my March TBR. Obviously, if you are new here, this is going to be a very short list of 5 books that I plan to read during the month. Obviously this list could change, but I usually stick to it pretty well, and it just gives me kind of a leeway so I can chop and change things, or I can also add books, and usually I read more than 5 books anyway. So it's a short list, but here are the 5 books that I want to read in the month of March. The first book that I would like to read in March, now I don't know whether I'm going to change this one. It kind of depends what mood I'm in, because I read the first book last month and it's affected me more than I thought. That book is If I Had Told Her by Laura Nowlin. This is the sequel to If He Had Been With Me, and that book is very sad. And it upset me more than I thought. I have been in my sad girl era for a little bit now because of it, and I am not okay. I haven't been okay for a couple of days now. I'm just barely surviving. But without spoiling kind of the ending of the book, you are following the main character Autumn, who for all of her life has lived next door to her mum's best friend's son. And they've grown up together, they're like really close friends, and then they drift apart when they get to high school, and then it's kind of like they drift back together again, and they go through like the trials and tribulations of high school, of boyfriends, girlfriends, and all of the issues that come with that time of being a teenager. At the beginning of the book you kind of know something bad happens, and then you are kind of like following the events leading up to that bad thing happening, and it ripped my soul to shreds. I was definitely a lot more emotional than I thought I would be. There is going to be a reading vlog next week where you will see me break down, and it's like the second or third time this year that I've broken down over a book. I might as well just start calling myself the girl who cries on the internet a lot, because I feel like that's what it's turning into. But I initially didn't know that there was a sequel to that book, but to be fair, I feel like the author wrote the sequel because the first one got really popular again, because the first one was written in like 2013 and the sequel has only just released this year, because I think she went back and explored the characters more and stuff because people were obviously really liking it, and I'm just very intrigued now. I really want to read about these characters again and their lives and see what they're going through, and I want to break my soul again. The second book that I would like to read in March is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, and the main reason that I want to read this is because I read Bride last month by Ali Hazelwood, and it made me realise how much I love her easygoing romance style. And honestly, I think this is one of people's favourite books in this series, because obviously although they're not really interconnected in the original sense that romance series are, I feel like it's like a STEM romance series. I don't know. Anyway, it's part of the Love Hypothesis series, okay? That's what it says on Goodreads, so it's a series. This is the 3rd book in that series. As far as I've heard, this is people's favourites. This one follows a young woman named Elsie, who is a professor by day, and then to cover kind of like the costs of like living and everything, she lends her services to people that need like a fake girlfriend. But then she ends up lending out her services and she has like this favourite client, and this favourite client just so happens to have an older moody brother who essentially stands in between her and her dream job, and so you just know crazy things are gonna happen. And I enjoy Ali Hazelwood's books. The second one that I read last year, at some point I can't remember the name of it, I didn't love overly that much, but like I still enjoyed it. Like, it was still a fun read, it just wasn't my favourite. Really hoping I'm gonna love this one. I do love a fake dating trope, so I have my fingers crossed for it. I'm hoping it's gonna give me the angst that I want, so it's going on the list this month, because I feel like I just need some lighter reads now, because I've read so much fantasy in the past 2 months. Speaking of fun little romances, the 4th book that I want to read in March is The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. This is a paranormal romance comedy. It follows our main character Mackenzie, whose grandmother has kind of been on her back for ages about finding a mate, and so she ends up blurting out that she already has found someone, and she blurts out the name of the first person that she can think of, which also happens to be the first person that she would never date. And that person is Noah Taylor, who also happens to be a wolf who hasn't found his mate. It sounds so silly, but after reading Bride, I just need more silly, goofy, paranormal romance. I've never read any of this author's books before. I don't know whether she has any other books, but I've been seeing it everywhere. Everyone keeps mentioning the fake mate, and I need this in my life. Someone actually said that they preferred this to Bride. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, this is just wolves, so there's no vampires involved, which makes me sad, but I'm hoping I'm gonna love this and it's gonna have me giggling and kicking my feet up in the air. That's honestly always the main goal for me with romance, is I just want something that's gonna have me on the edge of my seat and like just wanting more. And then the fifth and final book that I want to read in March is actually one of my anticipated reads for the year, and quite honestly, I'm always terrible at getting round to my anticipated reads. I usually never read any, but this year I want to make a solid effort to try and read some of my anticipated reads. And the one that I'm going to read this month is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. So I'm not sure now whether this is YA or adult. I saw someone mention that they said that it was adult, but I don't know. I don't think it is adult. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's young adult, but this has been dubbed as essentially Six of Crows meets vampires. And if you couldn't tell, I want more paranormal stuff in my life. I've been seeing rave reviews about this already. I already knew that this author was pretty well loved with her previous series, so I'm kind of hoping that I'm gonna love this because it does sound really good. So our main character basically runs a tea room that by night turns into an illegal bloodhouse for vampires, and she ends up having to save it by going on this massive heist, and obviously she has to band together a team of people to do this heist with her. I obviously love anything that's dubbed the next Six of Crows because Six of Crows is literally everything. I feel like any heist book now is just, it's Six of Crows, it's the new Six of Crows, which annoys me and brings me so much joy at the same time, because I'm like, oh yes, it's essentially like having your favourite author have a quote on the front of a book and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna read that because I love their book, so I've got to love this one. So this is going on my list this month. It sounds so fun. I'm also really excited to read a book by an author whose books I've actually had my eye on for a while, so I'm very, very excited to see whether I like this author's books, because I would really like to read We Hunt the Flame as well, which I've heard amazing things about. So those were the 5 books on my March TBR. If you've read any of these books, then please let me know what you thought in the comments. If not, let me know some of the books that are on your March TBR. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content from me, then don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. So bye guys.